zone for like, what did they say, 1 minute and 22 seconds without a shot on goal. The puck's just moving around and around and around and around. Then finally, Makar kind of dances his way down Main Street, knocks it in. You take the 1-0 lead. So getting a power play goal, knocking that whatever confidence impediment out of the way early in the game is huge. But as the game went on, you saw opportunities that either a great save by Ottinger or barely a miss on your part. And you knew that if you're only getting a few of those, how many times can you either get robbed or just miss before something comes back to bite you? Second period, Kadri gets a rebound. He fires one, and it's just like, how does the shot not go in? And then what happens on the opposite end? Rebound off of Wedgwood, knocked in by Robertson. Pretty good play, and the game's tied 1-1. There was not a lot of penalties that were going to be called. There was a high stick on Kiviranta where he goes over to the bench and he's got a towel over his face because he's bleeding. I just think that for you to get a penalty called in a game like that, the refs were treating that as much as the Avs and the Stars were as a playoff game. It was going to be really, really difficult for anybody to get a man advantage in that because they don't want to. You could tell the refs didn't want to infuse themselves into that game. It's kind of like police it yourself. But the one that really bothered me is the shot in the second period that was ripped by McKinnon, that he was incredulous. He's like, how did the shot not go in? And then you're looking at Ottinger as they're getting the puck to take it to the faceoff circle. And he's reaching inside his sleeve for the puck. And you're like, really? Inside the sleeve? You know, and it was a shot that it was, I think if you give McKinnon that 9 more times, Ottinger can't do a damn thing about it. But it was just in that moment when you start to see these things kind of like stack up one after another after another. It just had the feel of a game that was going to overtime, and it was going to be one of those whatever sort of random bounce in overtime or shootout it's going to take. That's who's going to come away with this. You do get another power play with about 11 minutes left in the game. And Makar rings one off the crossbar. Had it right there. And it's just a matter of a couple of inches high. Couple of millimeters high. Dallas comes back. They get their own power play. And a huge save by Wedgwood keeps you in the game. A huge save by Wedgwood in overtime on Robertson keeps you in the game. And a great defensive play in OT by Makar. Once you get to the shootout portion of this, the Avs historically haven't been great. Recently have been good at it, though. I held out some hope. Val hit his last 2 in the shootout as he's gone out there first. He missed that first one, and you come away with a point. The overarching sort of thing to me about that game and what that means, it's amazing how close these teams are. In kind of every sense. You know, the only thing that I think really sucks is that you played so well defensively. You only allowed 18 shots. And because all it was going to take was 1 to get to OT, 1 sneaks by, and then it's a mad scramble to the finish. But think about this. The bodies that are missing for Dallas, obviously not having guys like Mikko or Heiskanen. He had Heiskanen last night. Who am I thinking of? Can't think of the name. Help me, textures. But they're missing guys. You're missing guys. What the Avs really need to focus on now is what the Nuggets didn't do last night that we'll get to in a bit. You have to focus on winning the games that are I don't want to say put on a tee for you, but certainly games in which you're a heavy favorite and you should win. That's it. And I really think that, it feels like in the NBA, the Western Conference is going to have to go through Oklahoma City. We all know that. Well, the Western Conference in hockey is going to have to go through one of these two teams. And we're going to have a matchup at some point. Rope hints, thank you. Goodness. You're going to have these two teams fighting each other, and whoever comes out on top is going to be the representative of the West. There's nobody else that plays on this level. And, of course, it just has to be a team that's within your own division. What sucks about this is that you have had a sort of historical run this year as far as the amount of points that you put up as quickly as you did it. And the bummer in all of it is you could tell the Avs leading up to that Olympic break kind of let go of the leash a little bit, said to themselves, we put in a whole lot of work. I think we're allowed to have because every team has a stretch of bad games during the course of an 82-game season. It happens. So they got to that Olympic break. They could see that sort of stretch of 3 weeks off from an NHL grind. And they let go of it a little bit. And that's all it took, because that's when Dallas started to go on their run. And that's when they made up all that ground to make this even possible to get to this point. Because outside of the Pittsburgh game, the Avs haven't played poorly. They lose to Edmonton 4-3. You're kind of right in that game. The Winnipeg game was a little bit ugly, but you played well defensively in a game like that. Dallas game could have easily flipped over to you. But now you have a stretch. It's Chicago, Washington, Pittsburgh, Winnipeg, Calgary, Vancouver. That's your next, 6, 7 games? That's what you got. That's before you play Dallas again, and then you go St. Louis. It's the rest of the schedule. But you have a nice little bulk in here where you have a whole bunch of winnable games. You can start to rack up points, and then you look at the Dallas Stars, and they got some tougher ones. They're playing against Minnesota in Minnesota on Saturday. They're playing Vegas the night after that on a back-to-back. You could make up a couple of points in that little stretch. It's just a matter of keeping on all of the different things that have been emphasized post-Olympic break, being better and more solid on the defensive side of things, which they certainly were last night. Continuing to make sure that the power play ramps up. I told you guys, the power play, the numbers to it, post-Olympic break might not have been great, but the analytical part of it has showed they're way more dangerous than they were earlier in the year. And I think we can all kind of feel that. The power plays have been better. Whether they get the actual result of a goal or not, the look of it is better, so you would think that the goals are going to be coming too, and you get one last night with Makar. It just sucks. It sucks that you're in a position where this has become an all-out mad dash to the finish when pretty much all year it's felt like one of those things that you could get to the end of the season in that last week, maybe rest some guys, give them a little bit of a break so it's not tired legs heading into the postseason. But now, I don't think that's going to be available. I think you got to do it. And for all of the postseason matchup stuff and how silly we think it is of why isn't it just 1 through 8? Why are you doing this, trying to force this division thing? And I guess it bothers us more than anybody because over the last 3-4 years, this division has been the best in hockey. And the teams that are favored to win the Stanley Cup usually come from this division, or at least one of the top teams in the Western Conference. And Gary Bettman the other day was asked about the playoff format. Basically, hey, everybody hates this. What do you think? He said it gives us a sensational first round, probably the best playoff first round in any sport. So he ain't changing his mind. So 303-504-0925. Here's what we have. At 10 o'clock this morning, when our show gets done, it's all hoops, baby. It is tournament madness happening all day today. Are we on both 92.5 and 950 with all these games, Nelly, correct?
I believe so. I will double check on that.
Sharing all of these different airways for all these different games. But myself, Vic, Moser are the only ones on today because we're going to leave the rest of the day up to hoops for you guys. Because it is still one of the better days in all of the sports calendar. It feels like it might have lost a little bit of its luster because maybe the sport is just too hard to keep up with now. But still an unbelievable day. So we'll make way for that at 10 o'clock this morning. We're broadcasting from the Backus and Shanker Studios. Serious lawyers for the seriously injured go from the Avs to the other team that lost last night, which is the Nuggets. And a prime example of why I just can't take them seriously. We get to it next.
4.5 seconds left here for Denver. Inbound goes to Murray, and from half court. Missed it at the horn. Oh, folks, the Denver Nuggets dead tired. They get absolutely crunched in points off of turnovers. But tip of the hat to these young bucks by the Memphis Grizzlies. A bunch of guys you've never heard from before in your lives. Take care of the Denver Nuggets tonight by a final of 125 to 118.
Texture says this. Brett, this cracks me up, and I would like to hear your loosely valued opinion on it now. I live for my opinion being loosely valued. It's the most I can ask for. He said a couple weeks ago you were ranting about Christian Brown and Cam Johnson combining for 10 points and how that's got to change for the Nuggets to go anywhere down the stretch. Well, last night, they combined for 46 and have been scoring a lot more since you gave that observation. Now what? I'll tell you now what. Don't turn the ball over 19 times to a team that sucks. Don't give them 27 points in transition. That's what. Like, I don't know if you guys are Succession fans or not. I love the show. I think it's one of the better shows that's been made over the last handful of years. And Logan Roy, the father, looks at his children. It's one of my favorite scenes. It's one of my favorite lines because this can apply to so many things. Looks at his children and says, I love you, but you are not serious people.
I'm the eldest boy!
And that exact sentiment applies to the Nuggets with me right now. I love them. I love their roster makeup. I love how they look on paper, but they are not serious people. Because if they were serious people, games against Memphis and people you've never heard of, those are automatic. I swear to God, one of the only people that I am truly aware of, I've heard of most of the guys in these roster. But as far as a guy that I've seen play a lot is 40-year-old Taj Gibson, who I forgot was still in the league. And he played 9 minutes last night. Games like this just don't happen if you're a serious basketball team. Because I'll give you an example of a team that is a serious basketball team. Would you agree? Oklahoma City's pretty serious. They played Brooklyn last night. Out of curiosity, Nelly, do you know what the score was at halftime? OKC in Brooklyn?
Oh, I saw this. It was something like
60 to
60
24.
20? Yeah, 24.
60 to 24. Because that's a team that is taking this seriously against another team that has Cancun tickets booked. And that's what the game should look like. But when you turn the ball over 19 times, when you give them 27 points in transition, a young team without a lot of talent can beat you. And by the way, I'm looking right at Jokic on this. Jokic has been awful in the turnover category. For a while now, he has been. I mean, he's had all these triple doubles and all of that. There's games in which he's been close to quadruple doubles. Jokic is averaging 5 turnovers a game this month. 5. Last night, he had 10. That's how you lose. And as far as things that we've been looking out for with the Nuggets, like they have issues in a few different categories. Late game defense and all the stuff that we've harped on over and over again. Their turnovers have been killers. And they've been the one thing it's felt like it's been present in each one of the different details that we don't like about what we're seeing with the Nuggets. Late in games, why can't you close those out? Why aren't you as clutch anymore? Well, you turn the ball over, you give easy points away late in the game too. Why can't they seem to get into a flow early in the game? Because they're turning the ball over. And I don't know Is this miscommunications because some guys that you're playing with just haven't built the chemistry with the other guy? Like, I don't know what it is. The season's almost over, though. Chemistry and all of that, you kind of are what you are now. And a texter says, Aaron Gordon is the key that drives this car. Without him, we're going nowhere. I know how important Aaron Gordon is to this team. Aaron Gordon is not so important that if he's not on the floor, you lose to the Memphis Grizzlies. He's not that important. I swear to God, if you told me everybody was in except for Joker last night, I still expect the Nuggets to win. You have to. And I don't know, like, if they can't find whatever gear it is they need to find now, then when is it coming? For the first time, do you know where the Nuggets sit? They're in the 6th seed. 6. They are they're a big step away from being in the play-in. Phoenix is 2.5 games back. But you're as close to the 7 as you are the 3. And games like this, again, they don't happen for a basketball team that wants to be serious about competing for a championship. They just don't. Like, I don't have the full answer on how you fix all of this, but I think one thing could be really easy. Running the basketball through Nikola Jokic is something that feels like a necessity. Has to. It's what you've always done. It is the best play in basketball, is get the ball in Joker's hands. But if you do that, Joker cannot turn the ball over this much. It is an absolute killer. I don't know, Nelly, can you pull up Adam in post game? Because in losses like this, he seems to be very, let me say, forgiving in his language to the team. You know, there's been losses that they've had that he said, hey, I still like the way that we play. Like, there's been a lot of that stuff. Last night was not an example of that. And I think he admitted as much, that is sort of an unacceptable loss that just took place. So listen.
Energy, focus, really, really bad loss for us. And I give them credit. They played super fast. They played how they play. There's no excuses with this. I knew we'd be somewhat tired and lethargic, but it's a long game. There's a lot of time to get yourself involved in the game. And I thought we just waited too long. We gave them a lot of confidence with how we played early. Even though it was tight at the half, I did not think we played well. And then obviously in the third quarter, they felt confident. They made shots. They were 7 for 12 from 3 in that quarter. Now you're playing from behind, and that's not a good place to be in the.
The back-to-back stuff, I don't buy it. And he said it. He goes, whatever, tired, lethargic. Well, it's a long game. Got to figure it out. They didn't play a game on Tuesday that featured them going into double overtime and people putting in 50 minutes. That game was over by half. The most minutes played in that game by anybody on the roster was 27. You couldn't have asked for a better situation to go to on a back-to-back. And I get it, jamming that in the middle of this schedule because that's the postponed game from earlier in the year and all that. Yeah, it's not ideal. It sucks. But you had, if I could tailor make a scenario in which you're playing a back-to-back, it would be off of a game that you just beat the snot out of your opponent. The starters and bench players both had limited time that they had to play in that game because you were winning so badly. And it's against a team that has straight up given up on the year. I couldn't make a situation better for you to play off a back-to-back. But again, I can't take this team seriously. I can't. And maybe they can find some magic switch when the postseason rolls around and they lock in. I don't see it. I don't see that happening at all. And it doesn't feel like this team plays with a level of urgency that's necessary. There were times, and Nelly, I think we all kind of remember this, times with the Nuggets in which they would play a poor game for a couple of quarters, and you're like, why are these guys messing around with this bad team? And then it would just be like they did that knowing that, like that, they could turn the game around. And I don't know if this team has that ability, but they act and perform like they do. You know, it's probably one of the more shocking things that I've noticed out of this season. And for them to have repeated moments like this of just not playing up to a certain standard, it has to happen. You know, mentioned this before. The weird thing with the Nuggets is that they're 14 games over 500, which is like, it's not bad. But you combine that with expectations going into the season. You multiply that by who you're losing to, and then you put, what is that called? The little letters on top of the other letters, exponent. You put an exponent on top of that, which is you're terrible at home, and then to push it even farther, in parentheses, everything else, you can't win games in the clutch. Like, all of that put together has made this, like, pretty miserable. And I don't know if the team really feels what the rest of us are kind of feeling, which is this doesn't look right, doesn't seem right. And if you take this type of game into the postseason, you're going to get bounced in the first round, which was, to me, thought to be unfathomable with the roster that this had.
Brett, I don't know how you coach this or how you instill this, but sometimes when I watch a team like OKC and they're moving the ball, they just look like they're walking on clouds. They look like Katy Perry in the California Girls music video circa 2010 on a pink cotton candy cloud that you have, three guys lined up around the key, somebody in the dunker spot, and it's just like pass, 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 three-pointer, effortless. The whole thing takes 10 seconds. And then you watch the Nuggets, and they look like they're playing basketball walking uphill through molasses. I don't know. I don't know what contributes to that, but every time they play basketball, it just looks hard. It looks like a slog unless they're playing the Embiid-less 76ers.
Confidence. That's what that is. You know, I'm going to mention this again. I don't have a beef with the Nuggets offense. The Nuggets offense can look clunky at times. They're the best offense in the league. They put up more points than anybody. They might set a record, by the way, this year for average points per game on the road. They're averaging like 123 points a game on the road. That's not the problem. The problem is you give up 125 to a Grizzlies team that has nobody of note on the roster. That's the issue. And you do that by the only way that young teams that are also bad can score in the way that Memphis scored last night and play the way that they did last night is if you allow them to gain confidence. You can rip that out of a young team from the very jump if you want to, if you do things right. But turnover, fast break, bucket. Turnover, fast break, bucket. The amount of times you do that, you instill a belief in a team that should have none of it. heading into the game. And it's all about the lack of care with the basketball. That's it. Points conceded off turnovers, 27 by the Nuggets to 10 by Memphis. If anything, when you're playing a young team, that's got to be flipped. So 303-504-0925 are not another bracket challenge at altitudesportsradio.com/not-a-bracket. Enter now. You can win dinner for two tickets to a catered suite to the first Nuggets home playoff game, and an autographed Jokic jersey. All you have to do, you pick 5 teams and you're entered. That's it. It's all presented by Groove Toyota. Start here, go anywhere. On Broadway, in Inglewood, or online at groovetoyota.com. But go to altitudesportsradio.com/not-a-bracket to enter. You have until 10 o'clock by the end of our show this morning to do so. So jump on and do that now. A whole bunch to talk about today. 2 L's last night between the Avs and the Nuggets. But it's tournament games all day today. And I got a question about the NCAA tournament and how this was always seen as arguably, you put it up there with the opening to the NFL season, that opening weekend. You put that up there with the Masters. You put that up there with whatever sporting event, the opening of college football season. Whatever you think was the greatest sports day on the calendar. And I wonder, has it dropped down a tick or two for people? We'll get to it next. Hey, Nuggets fans, blood donations are needed every day to help patients in Colorado, so join Vitalant and the Nuggets to save lives this March. Schedule your donation at vitalant.org/Denver Nuggets or at any Vitalant donation center during the month of March. You could win an autographed Nuggets jersey, so go to vitalant.org/Denver Nuggets for more info and to schedule your blood donation today. On here it says /. I don't think that matters, does it?
Well, you can't put a backslash.
So forward, well, who would put a backslash, though?
Right. When you think of a slash, that's a forward slash.
Yeah, you only clarify the backwards.
Yeah, you don't need to say a forward slash. You would only need to clarify if it's backward, yes.
Look, I don't know how to code. I don't know if you use backward slashes in coding or not. Backward slash just feels like it's on the keyboard to make a really complicated password. That feels like that's the only purpose for it.
Backward slash, new band name, called it.
What's some other things that I've never used on a keyboard? Let me just look down real quick. I've never used the little tilde. Never done that. At top left of your keyboard.
You don't type in Espanol? You don't write mañana?
I don't know if people use this, by the way. There's the page up and page down keys. I don't use that. I use the scrolly wheel on the mouse. Don't think I've used a function button before. Ooh, what's this one? Hang on. There's a thing that looks like a window shade. Nothing. It does nothing. That's a useless button. Why is that on here? There you go. All right, moving on. The tournament starts today. And you can hear it right here, Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. From 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., we'll have all the games for you that starts right after our show. Here's my question. Days in the sports calendar that people love. I have maintained this my whole life. My favorite day is the opening weekend to the NFL season. It's like when I get that first 11 a.m. slate, and you turn on Red Zone, it's like my favorite holiday. For some people, they love the Masters. For some people, they love opening day in baseball. For some people, they love, you choose, college football, hockey, whatever. March Madness these first 2 days, Thursday, Friday, have always been days in which people would take off work, go to the bar. Maybe you're doing that today. But my question is, with the excitement level that I usually have for these 2 days, because I love them. You go to a bar, you have 50 TVs on, everyone's got a different game. There's always a game that's just starting with another game that's coming down to the wire. If you're throwing down some bets, then you really care about that 16 seed that's only going to lose by 23 points instead of 28. Like, all of that different stuff is what makes this so much fun. Now, not having local teams in this hurts. Like, you don't have your CSUs and your CUs and teams like that are in this. But just overall, has the NIL era of college athletics taken away a little bit from days like this? Because even when it was like the one and done era in college basketball, there was a level of excitement because you knew that you were seeing still top end players and you kind of knew who the teams were. And now it makes it really hard to really follow anything that's happening in college basketball, especially because there's too much movement. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm not going to watch this. I'm going to watch the hell out of it. But the excitement level that I've had, like, how about this? I'll put it in another way. There were teams that I'd go into this tournament being like, I cannot miss that team play. Because I want to watch this guy play and I want to watch this guy. And it just doesn't feel a lot like that to me anymore. But again, 303-504-0925. You tell me if I'm wrong on this or if I'm off base. that's just how I am right now because it's hard for me to follow things. Like when you went into the tournament, I remember when Ja Morant was playing for, God, what was it? Was it Murray State? Is that who he was with? And it's like, I have to watch this guy play. Or Zion was playing for Duke. I got to watch Duke to see what Zion's going to do in the tournament. Or even like you want to go way back. Adam Morrison's playing for Gonzaga. I got to watch that. Jimmer Fredette for BYU. I got to watch that. I don't know who like the top dogs are in the sport right now. And maybe that's on me. Maybe I just haven't been paying close enough attention. But I think that's kind of like it's been a combination of movement in college athletics with the NIL era combined with, these guys you were watching for the purposes of, well, when they go to the draft, which teams are they going to go to? And now the draft's been kind of infiltrated by European players that you don't know. So for me, it just feels like there's not quite the same oomph to it as it used to be.
For a guy like me who doesn't actively follow college basketball much, for me, the opposite is true. I don't care if Zion Williamson or Cooper Flagg is playing, whatever. I don't need to see those must-see guys. I want to see who is that guy from like Oakland of Michigan who looked like a tax attorney that was just hammering threes?
Yeah.
And first of all, where does Michigan get off having a school named Oakland in Michigan? Read a map.
Oakland County.
And then second of all, that's why I like watching these early games is because I'll sit down and I'll turn on one of the 1,000 games and I'm like, who's this guy? And why is he?
Well, you're still going to get your darlings. Yeah.
Oh, he's a 15th seed. He's dunking over everybody. He looks like he should be, playing keyboards in a piano recital or something. And he's a great basketball player. I like all the weirdness.
Okay, so I am so with you on that. And maybe that's what I've kind of been turned off by the last couple of years. These first 2 days, the reason, and I'm convinced of this, as my voice cracks because I'm either sick or have allergies. I don't know. It's going to be 85 today. The reason as to why the last couple of years haven't had maybe that same gusto as before for me is I watched these 2 days looking specifically for like the 14 seed to win. I want to have that big time upset. I want to have the dude you've never heard of. I want Florida Gulf Coast going to the Elite Eight. Like that's the stuff that I live for during this tournament. And with the NIL stuff, I think it's taken much more of a sting in the basketball department than it has the football department, because you can still have in football, look, you need money, but you can have Indiana over the course of a couple of years, if they get influxed with cash, rise up out of nowhere and be a dominant force within the sport. Basketball, that's almost impossible. And so now, when the scales were a little bit more balanced, there was still like a heavy tilt towards the blue bloods and the teams that had big-time money. But, are we going to get an Ollie Faroukmanesh dropping a 3 over a number 1 seed again to win a game, like for Northern Iowa? Is that going to happen? Or is this going to be a lot of chalk? Like, I was just going through my bracket that I filled out. I do one bracket. If you do more than one, you're a fraud. You do one bracket. That's it. That's all you get. But I was just filling it out. And Nelly, it's like all chalk. All. Because I don't see the world in which all of these 13, 14 seeds can actually jump up and bite the bigger teams with the more cash flow.
Let's go, High Point. Let's get him.
Dude, I hope so.
Basketball powerhouse, North Dakota State, baby. Where you at?
I'd love to see it. I don't know if it's going to happen. So anyway, it could be just me, but that's the way that I feel about it. 303-504-0925. What? What are you laughing at?
On your credential, you look like such an idiot. Hysterical.
Do we want Nelly to pull up your picture when you're at the racetrack over there doing this move? Where you looked like
actually that was
a member of the Goonies?
That was the Joe Second golf tournament, like 2006 or something.
Where you looked like a member of the Goonies?
But look at you with no hair again. It just looks so funny.
Yeah.
It's hysterical.
Well, look, we might be going back to that real soon. That retractable roof is getting a lot more retracted over the last few months. 303-504-0925. Can watch a show live on Twitch, twitch.tv. Search Altitude SR in the search bar, the Altitude TV simulcast. And on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and don't miss anything from Denver's #1 sports station, Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. 2 bad losses to discuss. It wasn't a bad loss for the Avs. You're right about that. That wasn't bad. But it made me feel bad. It made me feel bad. The Nuggets loss was really bad. We'll get to both of those. Moser, Lombardi, and Kane next.
has to score to keep it going. McKinnon usually powers down the middle. He swings wide right this time. McKinnon misses the net, and that is it. The Stars get the extra point.
4.5 seconds left here for Denver. Inbound goes to Murray, and from half court. Missed it at the horn. Oh, folks, the Denver Nuggets dead tired. They get absolutely crunched in points off of turnovers. But tip of the hat to these young bucks by the Memphis Grizzlies. A bunch of guys you've never heard from before in your lives. Take care of the Denver Nuggets tonight by a final of 125-118.
Okay, now we're ready for the show. Moser just threw a smelling salt in my face. So, woof, clear me
How bad
up.
was it? I need one of those right now.
It was bad. It was bad. He got it right up in there, and it was really just one nostril straight to the eyeball.
Moser, bring me one of those next time.
Vic wants you to bring him a smelling salt.
I will do that, Vic. I got all up in there on Brett, and I was happy to do it.
Got Nelly?
I need somebody to get up in me.
Steve
with
was
smelling salt.
Yeah. Okay. I'm your guy.
Okay, let's do this though. Can
Yeah.
we please table the Nuggets? I can't start the show with that. We're not going to do that right now. I want to talk about the Avs. Because the Avs played well, Moj. They did. Didn't come away with 2 points, but it's the same story just in reverse. The last 2 games against the Dallas Stars, both teams come away with 3 points. So nobody has any movement in the head-to-heads anyway over the last 2. The game had a certain feel to it, which was we are going to do everything in our power on both sides to not give you a clean look at all. I mean, it took Dallas until, 3:55 left in the first period to get their first shot on goal. And the Avs at that point had 3. Then they come away with the power play where they just are cycling in the zone for, a minute 22 without a shot before McCarr puts it in and gives you the 1-0 lead. But the point, though, Moj, is that game was going to be a game of very few opportunities. When you get them, you need to capitalize. And it was a really evenly played game. I don't know what to tell you. Shootouts are random and you lose it. Okay, fine. I'm not upset with the Avs game last night.
I thought the Avs played an excellent hockey game.
Yep.
If you recall my keys to the game, is that my coffee mug that he had? Okay.
I mean, the one that says hot stuff?
Yeah, that's me. If you recall yesterday, my keys to the game, the number one thing was what? Defend, defend, defend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they were superb last night, Vic.
Yeah.
It was a superb defensive effort. Can you believe the one goal they do get?
I know.
Partially fanned on, off the post, behind Wedgie, right to Robertson's blade. I mean, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Meanwhile, McKinnon feels like 9 out of 10 times he takes that exact same shot, it doesn't end up in the sleeve of Ottinger.
Dude, I
The
mean,
sleeve.
It's up his...
The sleeve!
It got in him. Okay? I am actually, in regards to the Avalanche this morning, I feel pretty good. And I got in a fight with people on Twitter last night. You know, a lot of people want to look at that. Well, they lost it. I mean, there's just so much negativity in the world. And have you ever seen, Vic, people who go, well, if you think this is a travel, then you don't know ball, or what, that kind of thing, right? They're very obnoxious. There's
Like
a lot
me?
of, well, basically you.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say you, but yeah. There's a lot of negativity out there, gentlemen, in regards to this game, but a lot got fixed last night in a very positive way. You gained 1 point, Dallas got 2. That stinks. They're trying to track you down, and they are very, very good. But, Vic, you did a lot of good things last night.
I'm not going to give you negativity. I'm going to give you a time machine. I just want to fast forward to Game 7 of their matchup in the playoffs whenever it comes, because that's what it's going to come down to. All this other stuff that's going on right now, chasing points, playing back and forth, I mean, it means nothing to me. These two teams are clearly the best teams in hockey. These two teams are destined to meet in round 2, and these two teams are going to come down to a Game 7, and it's probably going to go to overtime, and one team's going to have its heart broken.
Yeah, it is. Watching those two, there couldn't be a bigger reality in the NHL that those are the two best teams. Like that's just who it is. Both of them, by the way, as they're playing well, missing really good players in the lineup.
Correct. Both teams missing really good players. Avs more players, but both teams missing really good, important players to their team. Vic, last night, and I thought about this before I went to sleep. We can't do it. I wish I had my own side podcast because I'd do it then.
Mm-hmm.
But Jared Bednar's news conference last night.
Yeah.
And I'll preface this by saying they lost the game, which stinks. But he had as accurate a news conference last night as he's ever had, and perhaps as accurate as a head coach has ever had in this town.
Well, let's hear it.
It was I'd like to play the whole thing, but it's incredibly accurate.
I got a piece of it here. Listen.
And there you go.
I mean, I watch our team play like that, and I have very little issues with the way we played. And I've said it all along. I'm not going to judge your team on results only. I think that's a losing battle. I think you play like that, and good things will happen.
So tell me what they did, because clearly I watched the entire third period. I was too busy working our game. What did they do last night that makes you react the way you did and the coach react the way he did? Clearly, the Avs dominated the game from a statistical standpoint,
right.
Shots on goal and all that business. The ice was clearly slanted the Avs
Tilted,
way.
yes.
Yeah.
Vic, their shot volume, their shot selection on the offensive side of things, I thought was completely fine.
They weren't too cute with it.
Now, this is where I get it. They weren't too cute with it. This is where I get into today, and people are going to be going, well, they lost the game. I know they did, and that stinks. And Ottinger was outstanding.
Yeah, he was.
But they defended so friggin' well. They were attentive to details. They were in the right spots. They committed to virtually everything in that game. Vic, I just don't know how to say it. Mm-hmm. They played a really good hockey game and they lost.
Yeah,
but again, Vic, 7-game series. I'll take that effort over a 7-game series. This is where my big picture thinking comes in.
Sure.
Any day of the week.
The Stars had very few crazy scoring chances, right? Where you're like, oh my God. It was just the way the Avs played. I agree with you on that. They built a shield. It was a great one, too. And it worked wonders. What's frustrating is I'm going to use the word that you used on us early in the season. The Avs got goalied. They got goalied. Ottinger made some saves, man.
I mean, you have we talked about the McKinnon one, Moj. The Kadri had a pretty prime opportunity in the second period, too, that just missed a good save.
He didn't bury it. You wish he would have. And again, I tend to think
McCarr on the power play rings one off the crossbar. Right. Like
McKinnon, what did Ottinger do? And that specifically that one McKinnon shot.
He snuck it up his sleeve.
Up his sleeve. It went up in him.
Yeah.
Vic, it went in him. Okay. So if you weren't getting those chances, and again, this is where I think you have to be an adult in the room. If you weren't getting those chances, you weren't defending so well, you weren't transitioning so well, if you weren't doing all of that, then this morning I would be completely honest with you. And by the way, there have been times when I've heard Jared Bednar talk in the postgame. And his job as a coach is not my job. And it's not your job, Vic, or Brett, or Nelly, or any listener out there, any fan. The job of a head coach, you have to protect players at times. You have to steer things to the side at times. You have to do all these kinds of things. And I've walked away going, well, when he talked about this, I could see exactly what he's doing. Okay, he's not full of it. I'm just saying that he's steering it the way it should be steered as a head coach should, any coach.
Yeah.
He was last night as accurate in his assessment of that game as I've ever heard.
The Avs were the better team last night.
Yeah, he didn't like overtime, Vic.
I'm going to use a line that we've heard from different teams that have lost, but the Avs were the better team. They were. They lost the game on a shootout, but they were the better team. The way I look at it, that stuff all catches up to you. The Avs pulled off 2 of them in Dallas in the same manner.
Right.
So big deal. You lose one of those at home. But the question is, if Ottinger plays like that in the playoffs, again, let's just fast forward to Game 7 of this series.
All right.
Let's just get there. Some team is going to, can you imagine watching that, Brett? Can you imagine watching these two teams? Because it's going to come down to it. And it's going to be like pulling teeth.
I mean, we've seen this coming for a while now. The thing with the Avs is, I'm with Moj. If they play that style over the course of a 7-game series, they aren't losing the series. The pucks are going to go through. You'll find the back of the net. If you play that way defensively and you limit opportunities, I mean, how many shots did Wedgie face last night? Was it 18?
18 total shots.
Yeah. I mean, you play that way.
Essentially, dude, again, I can't tell you how unfortunate that bounces off the post. Goes behind him to Robertson, who's, by the way, being checked.
Yeah.
And Jason Robertson-Vic is a very, very good hockey player, which is why he's going to be an RFA. And so either somebody's going to give him an offer sheet at 12 per, which is what he wants, or Dallas will. And then they're going to be in cap hell. But nonetheless, right to his blade, and he puts it home from a very difficult angle. By the way, Wedgie got a piece of it on its way into the friggin' net.
Yep. Moj, I'm reading from a lot of folks here on the text line that the one critique they have is that the Avs just overpass.
They do that sometimes. But I'll say this. They had 34 shots on goal. I
didn't feel like it hindered them last night, though.
They had 20 shots blocked last night. Okay? Yeah. This is how well they defended. Dallas had 18 shots on goal. They had 6 shots blocked, and they missed some nets. The Avs had 20 shots blocked. The Avs are the second highest team in the league at getting shots blocked behind Carolina. And they shoot a lot. So you may think they're overpassing, and maybe you're right. Maybe you want to see 90 shots attempted per game. 100.
Yeah.
Great. I also had this. Somebody responded to me last night, and I sent out a very flippant tweet. And then
it's dangerous when you're not calling a game and you're on Twitter. It gets dangerous. I've been there.
Somebody said, well, you know what? They've just got an Ottinger problem. They can't score on Ottinger. I said, well, 2 weeks ago they put 5 on his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and before that they put 4 on his ass. So, I mean, he's an unbelievably good goalie. So's Wedgie, so's Blackwood right now. I'm just saying, people come in with this kind of thing like, they can't score on him. I was there 2 weeks ago when they put 5 on him.
It just happened, yeah.
It just happened.
Because today is the opening, Moj, to the NCAA tournament. We have our own tournament going on. It's our drop tournament. We go to the Brett region today. And again, you vote at the end of each segment for which matchup, who is the winner of each matchup. So, in the Brett region, 1 versus 16 seed. The 1 seed is...
When you have a midlife crisis, you do certain things that sort of go against the grain, things you wouldn't normally do. A couple years back, I bought my Vespa. My hog. I'm a rider now. I ride.
It's adorable. You think you're at midlife.
Another good comeback.
So good.
That is going against the 16 seed, which is...
These were guys who committed fraud. How would I be able... Look, they conned me.
You're one of the richest men in America.
They conned me. I made an investment in these guys thinking it was on the up and up, and they conned me.
The body language experts.
They got me.
Steve Ballmer. Whenever you're doing that high pitch, there's a little untruthfulness in there.
Something, yep.
So if you want the 1 seed to move on, you text in midlife. It's adorable. You think you're at midlife. If you want the 16 seed to move on, you text con.
Look, they conned me.
So all of that to 303-504-0925.
Well, that went away, didn't it? That just disappeared.
Well, I guess there's whispers out there that there could be a big punishment coming for them that involves lost draft picks and stuff like that. It's a rumor. We'll see. But each segment at the end of the segment will have a different matchup, so stay tuned all day today now to get to the Nuggets. Unfortunately. Next.
if I was ever going to look for a mountain property, an investment property, second home, if I could, or just pack up, get out of the city, go to the mountains, say, I'm out of here, I would desperately want to find the right person. And that is Anastasia Bell, a broker associate with Breckenridge Associates in Breckenridge, because dealing in the mountains is a different kind of cat. It's a different animal, and she knows it like nobody's business. Her level of professionalism is unsurpassed, and she's got that trust and that knowledge up in the mountains and beyond. Not just Summit County, I'm talking about all over the Rockies. So if you're thinking about that, write down this number, 970-968-7646. Plus, you can discover exclusive Breckenridge ski chalets. Private mountain living meets world-class skiing, limited and luxurious, all Breckenridge. That number again, 970-968-7646. Whatever it may be in the mountains, when you're looking for that special property, you need a pro, you need Anastasia Bell.
Johnson, bad pass, throws it away. Breakaway Hendricks and a dunk with the right hand. Denver right back down 10 points again, 96-86.
That poor Kaz. Kaz
Half dead.
Kaz sounded like death.
He sounded like all of us last night.
Play that again, Nelly. Let me hear Kaz again. The depressed.
Johnson, bad pass, throws it away. Breakaway Hendricks and a dunk with the right hand.
Dude.
Denver right back down 10 points again, 96-86.
If Kaz could put down his headset and walk out of the arena right then and there, he would have. And I
know what's crazy?
Him. I don't blame him. Just real quick here, Vic. I want to remind people, because there's only a few hours left before this. To enter our Not Another Bracket contest, you have until 10 o'clock today to do so. So altitudesportsradio.com/notabracket. You can win dinner for two tickets to a catered suite for the first Nuggets home playoff game, and an autographed Jokic jersey. You pick 5 teams and you're entered. It's all presented by Groove Toyota. Start here, go anywhere on Broadway in Inglewood or online at groovetoyota.com, but go to altitudesportsradio.com/notabracket. Go ahead, Vic.
I was just going to say that game bothered me less than the Lakers game.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Maybe you could tell me why I think that way.
Well, one's because it's the Lakers.
No.
I mean, yeah, that is a part of it.
Sure.
It might not be most, but that's a part.
It's very simple for me.
Go ahead, yeah.
That game just gave me clarity last night. It gave me clarity.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm done predicting what the Nuggets do. I'm done looking at the schedule. I'm done saying here's what they need to finish to get this seed. I'm done with all that. I'm going to go back to my cynical self until they prove me different. I think that's probably the best place to do, the best place to be right now. Because every time they get back on the bike and I think, all right, here we go, they fall off the bike again. And they find different ways to fall off. And at this juncture of the season, with so much on the line, with playoff seeding again, and playing the right way, with so much of that on the line, you can ill afford to do this. This is not the time nor the place. So it's up to them now to make me believe. It's not the other way around. I don't subscribe to that theory that as long as I'm a great fan, they'll come through. No. You have to make me believe. Right now, as we stand right on this very day, I'm a non-believer right now.
Here's my problem, Vic.
I'm just curious where you guys stand on that.
Well, I was pissed last night, and here's why. There's a scene from the movies or the TV show Succession where Logan Roy, the dad, is looking at his kids.
Land the airplane, Brett.
I've been speaking for 5 seconds.
I know, but this is taking a long
Nope.
time.
It's right here.
Just want to let you know how it feels.
It was
land the airplane, Brett.
You
are
saying
right,
land the plane is faster than the story I've told so far. He looks at his kids and he goes, I love you, but you are not serious people. And that's what I feel about the Nuggets. I love the Nuggets, but they are not a serious basketball team right now. They really aren't. There is no excuse for what happened last night. You cannot lose a game when you are in a battle for seeding in the Western Conference to a team that is fully given up and playing people you haven't heard of before.
Even though you got in at 5 a.m. and
don't care.
I've relayed that story. Me neither. I don't care either. I'll be honest with you. I've been on the other end of that. I understand. It doesn't matter. Because you know what? The same circumstances were in play last week when you went into San Antonio and you found a way to win.
So I think that one thing is incredibly clear. And we love Jokic. Jokic is the best player in the world, all of that. His turnovers have become a real problem recently.
I was going to start there.
Real problem.
I was going to start there because I think the team, and follow me on this one and tell me if you guys, again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. This team is a reflection of his attitude a lot.
Yeah.
And what I saw in the first half of that game, almost as if he was toying with the game.
Yep.
Attempted 3 shots. A lot of back and forth with the officials, and I'm not sure what we were doing there. And if you toy with the game too much, eventually the game will bite you back. And that's what happened.
This is very simple to me. A lot of the problems that we talk about with the Nuggets, late game situations, defensively not being good enough, you can trace a lot of that back off of just giving the ball away. They gave up 27 points off of turnovers. And if there's one way that you can get a young team who's maybe not very confident and not very talented, you want to get them confident, give them free buckets over and over and over again and watch that confidence grow over the course of the game.
100%. You know, a lot of Avs fans chimed in the last segment about how the Avs overpass at times. You want to talk about overpassing? Pretty much what I saw from the Nuggets last night, it made me sick at times because I knew they were the better team. Put your big guy on the block, give him the ball, and go shoot.
Yeah.
They can't guard him. They can't guard him. Why are you allowing them to guard him by overpassing?
I don't know. Like, a lot of this stuff with them, you know what it feels like, Vic? A few years ago, they were certainly guilty of this. They would play a team that they were better than. They knew they were better than them. And they'd toy with them. And you'd be midway through the third quarter, and the game would be like a 2-point game. And you'd be saying, what are they doing? But they had that ability to change it.
Yeah.
And they knew that they could hit that gear that the other team couldn't hit. And it feels like they're playing that same way with an inability to hit that gear.
Brett, there's too much whining at the officials. There's too much yelling at calls. There's too much of that. And it cycles through the whole team after a while. At some point, you just got to focus on winning the damn game.
Yeah.
And stop that. Just play the game. Listen, this is true. And I can't understand this. If someone can make sense of this, please let me know. Do you know that the Denver Nuggets were the 2 seed? They were the 2 seed in late January. Joker returned to the team, and now they're the 6 seed.
Yeah.
How does that happen? They were the 2 seed. He's healthy, and now they're the 6 seed.
And now they're as close to being in the play-in as they are being the 3 seed. 2.5 back of the Lakers, 2.5 in front of the Phoenix Suns.
I've come to accept.
You know they have a losing record since his return.
Yeah. I've come to accept, Vic, that they're going to be on the road for the postseason. And I'd like to say, you know what, they've been a really good road team this year. It's a silver lining. It's not silver lining. I'm going to be on the road. I don't care how good you've been and how much the home floor has been a pain in the tail. You want to be at home, and they're not. They're not going to be. I've accepted that. I was incredibly frustrated, Vic, last night. I even sent you a text, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I was waiting for them to okay, go, get some stops, and then go. And it just never, ever happened.
It's like a child breaking your heart. That's what it feels like to me. Listen, again, expectations for me mean nothing. They've got 12 games left in this regular season, right? Dempsey said it best last night when we were talking about the remaining schedule. If they're capable of losing to Memphis, they're capable of losing to any one of these 12 remaining teams. Moj, when I bring up these games, I don't want to hear your "this is the NBA" cry, because this is where we are right now. You know this, Moj.
It's true.
They're capable of losing to any one of these teams.
If you're going to do it, then do it right.
Yeah, that was weak.
Well, whatever. Moj, last night I was thinking of you the entire time.
Thanks.
And this is why you can't think that way. I don't know what
Vic,
this team is lacking.
I don't disagree with you. Last night was beyond frustrating. It's everything I can do. To
frustrating is not the word. I'm disappointed now.
I'm that too.
I'm disappointed. It's like, you know what's at stake. No one needs to remind you. No, you know, the Lakers win last night. The 3 seed, kiss it goodbye. That's gone.
No, there's no chance.
That's gone.
Yeah,
no chance.
Gone.
So now you're looking for the 4 seed, at least home court in the playoffs. But why am I sitting here trying to craft a model to how to get there when what does that matter? Who you play in the playoffs? If you perform like that, what does any of that matter?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, yeah, right now, if you get Memphis, you won't, obviously. They're not going to make it. But I wouldn't feel good against anybody, to be honest with you, Vic.
And it's not, we can get into a lot of different things. Last night, they were tired, clearly. Play the younger guys then.
I agree
maybe
with you.
play fresher legs.
Dude, you know what?
Julian Strawther got 5 minutes. I'm like, why isn't he playing a little more in the second half?
Let me say something about tired legs. If I could conjure up a back-to-back with almost every scenario that you'd want, with the exception of getting in, plane problems at 5 a.m. Put that off to the side for a second. But if I gave you this, Vic, you have a back-to-back in which the game the night before was over at halftime. No one on the roster played more than 27 minutes. And then the next day, you're playing against a team that is fully given up on the season. I couldn't lay out a better scenario to win in a back-to-back than that.
And here's how you win last night. It's pretty simple. You play strong early. Just knock all the fight out of them. I know you're tired, mentally and physically, I know. But if you give it your best early in the game and just let them know you're the big dog.
Yeah.
But instead, they're experimenting. A Joker attempted 3 shots in the first half. 3. They don't have anybody who can guard him.
Vic,
I hate when he does that.
So do I. He's not the same guy. There was a time, and this is in his earlier career, and he's probing, his teammates and that sort of thing. Those days are gone. You've got to be the man every single night. You can't refuse to shoot. He's changed in that regard. His attitude on the floor used to separate him from a lot of different